there was this new world prophecy about Portugal, that Portugal is the new spiritual kingdom. So connecting in a way that what we are looking for in this era is connecting with each other on a spiritual level. And Portugal became very famous in several places for opening up these kind of spiritual communities. Hello, everyone. I'm Nina Simon. I'm a German community builder and impact entrepreneur living in Portugal for 7 years. And today we share some of the secrets with you that I found are working out very well for me here, being the latest guest in the Simple Life Portugal podcast with Dylan.
Welcome back, or welcome to another episode of Portugal, the Simple Life. And I'm really happy to be joined here by Simone Franca, aka Nina Simone. How are you, Nina?
I'm doing very great. What about yourself? Thank you so much for inviting me here today.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on the podcast. I'm doing very well. We were talking off camera about our weekends. It's difficult not to have good weekends in Portugal.
That's correct. Yes, exactly. Especially if you have the beach 50 meters in front of your house.
Yeah, that helps. That very much helps, of course. Simone or Nina, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thanks again for having me. I'm German. I'm from Germany, imported from Germany 7 years ago. And I'm a community builder, impact entrepreneur, living in Lisbon, but currently exploring a little bit the countryside. I decided to move closer towards Cascais and the Sintra area. And I enjoy Portugal. I enjoy having the simple life, as we say here in Portugal. I'm a big fan of outdoor sports. I also have a little sausage dog that I take on for long beach walks. I love traveling. Together with my partner, we travel different places, living the digital nomad lifestyle. And yeah.
Sounds good. It's a good place to start. Good place to start. I mean, 7 years ago, a little bit before the wave of popularity, with lots of people looking to, in a big digital nomad movement, and a lot of people looking to come to Portugal. I mean, take us back to your first experiences of Portugal and how that all happened.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. So it was in 2017. I decided to go on a Europe travel, and I thought that one of the destinations could be Portugal. Back then, Portugal was not very known except for Cristiano Ronaldo. So I decided to plan 1 week in Portugal together with my mother. We started up north in Porto, traveling the whole coast. Down south, I remember was very interesting because I never experienced being in a southern country, but then at the same time having this heavy winds at the coast side, the Atlantic Ocean. That was completely new for me. And then we arrived in Lisbon, and Lisbon kind of caught my attention. I could not really describe what it was, but I felt this energy and I saw this light, and I just decided very quickly and spontaneously that I will stay in Portugal. So I lived, I think, 3 months in total in a hostel on top of Cais de Sodré. An experience for itself. And that's how my life in Portugal started.
After that experience of being in a youth hostel for 3 months, you made a decision to stay longer, to stay more permanently. What helped you make that decision? What do you think convinced you?
Yeah, so I think I had back then a really German approach, right? Which was like security. So let me get the job first, the house first, let me learn the language. And I think these were like the 3 most important things for me back in the time. So I was looking for a job. I was working back then as a journalist. I did a language course, a very intense one. I was in Portuguese class for 6 hours a day. And then the house, of course, the housing. So I went through all these Facebook groups back then, Germans in Lisbon and expats in Lisbon, trying to find a shared apartment. And yeah, when I got this secured, then I decided to give it a try. What helped me also staying in Portugal was, of course, the good weather, the friendly people, just this simplicity of life that, you go to a restaurant and you don't need all these fancy choices on the menu. You have like this supernatural food, unprocessed food. And yeah, I don't know, this just gave me a very healthy, balanced feeling of life. And I really enjoyed the simplicity in Portugal. So helped me a lot to make my decision.
I think once you kind of get below under the surface of what this country looks like on the surface level and you start to connect with the stories and the culture and the people, it becomes even more enriching. What has your experience been there?
Okay, so I think like the word connecting for me has several meanings. On one hand, connecting to the place where you live and to the people. And I don't know if you heard about this prophecy, but there was this new world prophecy about Portugal, that Portugal is the new spiritual kingdom. So connecting in a way that what we are looking for in this era is connecting with each other on a spiritual level. And Portugal became very famous in several places for opening up these kind of spiritual communities. So bringing people together, having experiences in nature with music, with meditation. This is one way you can see this whole connecting thing around Portugal. And then on the other hand, it's that really, I think Portugal kind of became the portal to the world. I see Portugal as kind of the harbor of Europe. So Portugal is connecting from here to many other countries, to Asia, to America. So I feel that Portugal became this kind of melting pot, and especially Lisbon, and that's what's more related also to my profession, where we bring people together and we connect with each other and we exchange knowledge and we reflect on old things and we build new things, new, better things, if this
Interesting.
makes sense to you.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I mean, would you say that Portugal is your spiritual kingdom? Is that what you found? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I would say Portugal is my spiritual kingdom. Not because I'm a crazy fanatic about, meditation and all of this, but spiritual in in the way that we have all these different influences, and it's like a blank canvas.
Mm.
And Portugal offers us this opportunity to use it as a blank canvas to create whatever new version of ourselves that we want.
Looking for a home in Portugal? This break in Portugal, the Simple Life podcast, is brought to you by Dylan and his team of certified realtors at Portugal Realty. Portugal Realty offers the exclusive Simple Life home buyer program. Visit portugalrealty.com today and book your free call to find out more. Welcome to the Simple Life.
Speaking of business, just tell us a little bit about what you do. I know you got your hands in a couple of places, but just a little bit about what you're doing here at the moment.
So I am a community builder. What does that mean in specific? So back then I was super fascinated by new ways of working and living together. So I was researching co-working spaces, and I became one of the, let's say, pioneers here in Portugal to consult people on how to open up these co-working spaces and how to bring people together, how to reach foreign companies to then come to Portugal and work here. Nowadays, co-working spaces, and especially with COVID, kind of became a commodity, almost a commodity. So our main focus with Pappus agency is to really just build community throughout different industry sectors. And this ranges from non-profits over tech companies, golden visa and real estate companies to, membership clubs. And in these spaces usually call me or call us to get help on their business model, to get help on bringing people together, for example, through event creation or online and offline. And also to get some advice on business development. So Portugal is this kind of entrepreneurial hub, right? So a lot of people come here and they pursue their dreams, they open up new companies. And since I'm here in this entrepreneurial landscape since 7 years now, I would say I have a lot of experience on where you can get the help, and I help you connecting with the right people and with the right opportunities.
What was your what have you picked up and learned from kind of the Portuguese way that you think is conducive to building a community for doing these kind of these things?
I think that this strong sense for family is super important, and that family is not only the first inner circle, like mother, father, and children. No, family can be extended, and in some neighborhoods, in Portugal, you really feel this family feeling, and in like whole neighborhoods, there people are there for each other and they support each other. And to just build a community that works as a support system, I think was super impressive for me to see. And I thought that this is how we should build community everywhere, and even in business, because I really believe that this social synergies of this creating these support systems really brings us further. And this is what I basically try to copy. And there are many great examples here in Portugal where you can observe this. For example, in Peniche, there is a co-working space called Lago Space, and they developed a concept. It's called Rua Mais. And Rua Mais means basically more than just the road. So they started to meet in this co-working space with all the neighbors and the families and everyone who was living and working there to decide where the community needs further development. So they started to build a vegetable garden. They started to build a public library in a phone cell. They started to build a playground for kids where they could like do skateboarding and stuff. And they started to do composting, to open up a maker space. And they started to solve like small needs that everyone had living in this area. And they became this kind of support system to each other. And I think that this is super beautiful. And this is exactly the way how we should do business in general, I do believe.
Nina, what's one thing that you want people to remember and to take away from our conversation?
I would say that there is always time to reinvent yourself. Portugal is really a blank canvas that can help you to really find your purpose and living it. I would want people to remember that doesn't matter which city or which country they're living in, that the most important is community, that family is not only the first inner circle, that family can be extended in many, many ways, and that we really should focus on building support systems in our personal lives, but also support systems in our professional life, because these social synergies are really what in the end create impact and what make the places that we live in better places. And I really think that this is the future, and that we as individuals and businesses should focus on building communities.
I like it. I like it a lot. Simone, a question that we ask all of our guests: Portugal, the simple life. Why?
Because the simple life is what really makes us happy and healthy. So I would always choose the simple life over the fancy and overwhelming life.
Lovely. Awesome. Simone, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, Dylan.
And I'm going to let you call it.
Thank you.
That's all right.
That's all right.
So thank you once again to our guests, and thank you to all of you for listening. Please subscribe, share with your friends, give us a thumbs up, and please leave a comment or a review. We always love to hear from you. Don't forget, Portugal The Simple Life also has a magazine, so download it. It's for free. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And as we say in Portugal, sejas bem-vindo. Welcome to The Simple Life.